So on the Professional Quotient podcast, we like to have conversations that really provide equity for others. So when we're able to share our knowledge and our experience with others, we're helping them navigate the professional landscape better. And I'm excited today to bring this conversation to everyone because I heard from a teacher, Mr. Jacob Mutchler, that he had received feedback from two former students of his. And to boil it down, Jacob was implementing a program called Delta Math in his classroom. And a lot of his students, let's just say, didn't give the most positive feedback in the moment that they were using Delta Math. But within the space of a week, he heard from two former students who are now in college, that they were very appreciative for learning Delta Math and how much it's helped them. And I thought, wow, this is exactly the point of this podcast. So that if we share this conversation, those that are learning a new app now and are struggling with it, they'll have encouragement that will be helpful to them later. So with no further ado, I'd love to introduce our three guests this week: Jacob Mutchler, Oscar Davila, and Lily Salcedo. Jacob, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Thanks for having us here on the Professional Quotient. So I'm a high school teacher. I teach calculus and pre-calculus. Both Lily and Oscar were students in my class a couple years ago, and then Oscar a couple years even before that. And I'm so glad that both Lily and Oscar are able to join us here. They've both been in college for a year since I last saw them at the end of their senior year. So Lily, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, my name is Lily Salcedo. I graduated from Duncanville High School. And now I go to California Polytechnic University, in San Luis Obispo. And I'm studying environmental or soil science.
Awesome. Thanks, Lily. Oscar, will you introduce yourself?
My name is Oscar Davila. I also graduated from Duncanville High School. Right now I'm attending the University of Texas at Austin, and I'm majoring in environmental engineering.
Very cool. Thank you. So let me start off. I'm going to allow Jacob to do most of the questions here from you because you all have that connection already, as he's been a former teacher. But before we do that, I just wanted to ask a really quick question of both of you, which is, as a student, what does your typical day-to-day look like? Again, this is for the audience members that may be thinking, I want to go to school and haven't made that choice yet.
Okay. Usually I fill my day with going to like office hours, or my school offers like a workshop, so it's like tutoring, but like you're with other students and like a student teaches you. So it's kind of like another like classroom feel, but also a hybrid between tutoring, which I really like. And then also like just going to classes, and then anytime that I'm not like actively like having a responsibility to be present, I'm doing studying and then eating a lot. Cuz over there the hills are very hilly, so I definitely got cow poly calves, and then I get hungry very easy.
Awesome.
Thank you for that. Oscar, how about you? What does your day-to-day look like as a student?
Consists of lectures, of course, and studying, homework, and I am one of those people that like ride their bike around campus. So I don't really have those calves like Lily has. But I want to say my quads are a little bit kind of in shape right now from biking. ET quads, yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. And Jacob, as a teacher, what does your day-to-day look like?
Right now, my day-to-day is very different from August through May. Right now, I'm just actually working on grading AP free response questions. So that's kind of what I've been up to for the last week.
That sounds exciting. So, with no further ado, I'd love for you to ask some of the questions that you were wanting to ask with your students here, your former students here.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. So, thanks, Lily and Oscar, for kind of introducing where you're studying and what you're studying. Kind of just wanting to pick your brain about your long-term goals and what you'd like to do after graduation. Both of you kind of have science-related fields that you're looking at. Lily, what's your ultimate goal?
Um, so I have met a couple people that like have studied the same thing as me, and then um they all like have the profession of soil science, like being a soil scientist. But I realized that it can be very like versatile. Like it doesn't look the same for like everybody who has that profession. So I feel like I can like be happy with that, especially because it's like straight up my alley because I am studying soil science. Um, so yeah.
That's awesome. Oscar, what would you like to do long term?
Um, so I'm interested in like sustainability, in like the term in terms with like engineering. But I'm like sort of unsure what I really want to do, and I also realize like with like majors, you're not going to like there's like so much like versatility with like with what you can do with a degree. It doesn't have to you just don't have to like go with what like what traditionally that degree does. So I think I would be kind of happy with whatever I get to do, but
I like what you say about degrees being flexible, though. I studied English first. I think I shared that with you all, and didn't come to math until probably 10 years after I'd graduated the first time. So I definitely appreciate that. It touches my heart that both of you found Delta Math to be useful kind of after the fact. You guys were kind of among the students that really used it during your high school years. So I'm kind of curious, in retrospect, what would you have found to be useful from your high school experience during your first year at college? Just kind of looking back at even all 4 of your high school years, what did you take with you from that that's helped you kind of have success where you are right now in your freshman year in college?
For me, well, Mr. Mutchler, you know that I was like doing band and everything, so I realized that me like doing a lot of hard work outside of school, so like I was doing band, I was doing cross country and like National Honor Society, all that stuff. And I realized that that really, whenever I was doing all of that in high school, that helped me build time management without me realizing. And then I got to college and like I just saw a lot of people struggling around me like with time management, and I was just I don't know, I just kind of reflected on my high school and how I like navigated high school with all those responsibilities, and I just kind of took that with me. And also this is kind of silly, but cross country, like, you know, you had to wake up early so you could run before school. And I actually had a 7 a.m. It was chemistry. It was 3 days a week, and it was kind of rough. But me, like, going throughout high school and, like, waking up super early and, like, just, living that way for a long time helped me do pretty good in that class. And, like, even me and my friends would even like study before that class, so we were insane. But
Wow, before 7 a.m. Really?
it was crazy.
Oh,
That class changed me. I am a beast now, and I'm thankful for my 8 a.m.s. But yeah, so time management and waking up early, um, and just like managing all my responsibilities, because my main responsibility is school, but like the homework load is a lot different than in high school. So like I feel like that helped, like learning how to manage a lot in high school and then coming to college where it's just normal school, but it feels more, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that you're advocating for being involved in extracurricular stuff. I like that. Maybe not, I kind of not for the extracurricular itself, but just for the time management that it kind of encourages you to develop.
Yes, for sure.
Oscar, what did you find useful from the high school experience during your first year at UT?
Like for me, it was like the structure was kind of similar. Um, like in high school, I would like use like whenever I would get home, I would just like focus on homework, and I would just like try to like see what I have to do and prepare for each class. And that really helps like in college because like you like have like all these classes and have like all this like workload. And but I think I like pushed it to another level in college where I'm using like this like this calendar website where I can like actively like put like what task I have to do each day. I set my goal. Like in high school, like I was like I would not sleep a lot, which like also translated into college. And like it was just like high school 2.0, but you know, it's just like take a step like further. Actively, like what I want to say is like what I learned from high school is just like be able to actively manage your time for each task.
It sounds like a good productivity hack to have this calendar app that you have. That's probably a really good recommendation for people to have is if you do have a lot of things going on, any kind of tool that you can use that helps you stay focused and not missing. That sounds like a great piece of advice. Thank you for sharing that. Jacob, what other questions have you got?
So just to kind of follow up on that question, is there anything that you wish that you had known before you had started your freshman year in college? Kind of looking back and just as a kind of dovetail to what was useful to you, is there anything that you wish you had learned at that time? What do you think, Lily?
Um, I think if I could like tell past Lily before going to Cal Poly, um, I feel like I would tell her that um it's it's gonna be harder than you think, but it shouldn't scare me. And I just need to keep putting myself out there, socially, so like to make friends and stuff, and also to like to keep going to the workshops that I mentioned earlier that my school provides. 'Cause this past quarter, like I just had a weird schedule and I just wasn't going like the first couple of weeks just because I was like really tired. But if I could tell past Lily, like, no, like you should go to those workshops like consistently. Because I did the quarter before and it was great. Um, so I think I'll just tell her to keep putting herself out there, um, socially and academically so she can like make friends and keep setting herself up for success.
May I ask what these workshops are? Is this in addition to a class?
It can be. Some people like can enroll in it and it's like one unit and it doesn't count towards anything except like your degree to do like 180 units or whatever. But since I'm out of state, I don't, because that would just be another like fee that I'll have to pay. But um basically like what happens is a person that already took the class that got like a B plus or higher leads the class, and then yeah, and then they like well, I've been to two types. One type is like she makes like this lesson plan and then it's like a mini classroom. Like you're just relearning what you went through with your professor kind of and just doing like practice problems and everything. But there's another type where he can just like kind of just help you navigate your own work and it's like doing practice problems and like interacting with each other and being like, okay, so how do you come to this problem? Like, how do you, um, like approach it? Like, what's the steps? And then just like explaining things. So it can be pretty, I don't want to say versatile again, but
Hey, move what work. It's all good. Yeah. But it reminds me so close your ears, Mr. Mutchler, but it took me 3 times to pass pre-cal. And it was challenging for me because I just, number one, it just wasn't clicking. And number two, the first 2 times I took it, I felt like my teacher was teaching more about the calculator than what the principles of the math were. But my third time to take it, I organized something that sounds similar, a little less structured than what you're describing, but it was the students meeting the night before a class, and we would kind of go over the homework. And I'll be honest, I was kind of setting it up a little bit just to kind of make sure I got my own P's and Q's in order, so to speak. So I would say, I'll tackle question 1, Lily, you do question 2, Oscar, you do question 3, Jacob, you do question 4. And usually there weren't more than that. I mean, well, maybe there were, but they were like complex problems. And what we would do the night before is we weren't just like giving each other the answers. We were taking turns teaching each other how to get this answer, like how to do this problem. And when I when I passed that class, I passed with flying colors. And it was because of those encountering the same information, but with a new group and in a new format. Like, it just really helped put it together for me. So I thank you for sharing that there's those extras out there and that we can get involved. Oscar, do you remember the question that Jacob asked Lily, or do we need to have him repeat it for you?
I believe it was like, what would you like? Tell your like self at this, if your current self would tell your younger self. Yeah.
Perfect. And what would you tell your younger self, Oscar?
I would remind them that I can do it. Like I always had like I think when I say like I have this like mentality that like I can like do whatever I put myself I can do whatever I think I can do. And like that's just like a powerful like way of thinking things. And also like I am bad at balancing with what I do. I just focus on schoolwork and I don't really like try to like I like I don't put enough time into like the social aspect of like in college. Was like one of my like things that I happened like this first year. And it's like in college it can like also be like intimidating to like asking your professor for help, because you don't have like that like close like relationship as you did with like your teacher in high school. And I also want to like I also connect with you, Jason, because I like for my like first semester, um I was really struggling in biology. And I stick like for the course I stick through it like until like almost the end, where it was like the deadline to drop it. And I reset it a second time at community college and like a month ago, and I got an A in it.
Challenging to come back and do it a second time, but it does give us confidence as we go through it, because I'll share for me the first 2 times, and I did like you, I didn't fail the class. I just dropped it at the very last moment, like possible time to drop it. But when you drop it and when you don't fail, it kind of hurts our self-esteem and and so being able to do it another time and then pass is like, okay, now I got this. And like you're saying, you can do anything you set your mind to, but we don't always put all of our mind to accomplishing it. And so sometimes, because like with me, I probably could have set up groups the first 2 times I took pre-cal. Well, number 1, I didn't really think about it. But number 2, maybe I wasn't that determined to pass it at that point. Like, it was like, oh, I think I was struggling from that mentality, that inner voice that tells you you're not going to be able to do it. And, and I let that win, unfortunately, the first 2 times.
You call that the imposter voice.
Yes. And I call the other voice that reminds us of our accomplishments the reposture voice. So now, while one side of my shoulder has that little devil that says, you're not going to learn pre-cal, this other voice now says, oh, yes, you did, and you passed it. What other questions have you got for us, Jacob?
So, Lily, Oscar, both of y'all mentioned how kind of working with a network of people has been really useful to you. Lily, the group of, I guess, fellow students. And Oscar, you mentioned kind of making that leap to ask the professor for help. I kind of want to ask Jason if you would describe this idea of professional equity, since networking is one of the main components of it.
It's certainly an important component. So I like to define professional equity as our skills, our knowledge, our experiences, our education, and our network. Although I also use the word community because it's one and the same. So your network is your fellow students. Your network is your professors or your former teachers, whomever you can reach out to and say, hey, I need a little help with this. Or do you have any knowledge on this or any guidance? All those things. So again, skills, knowledge, experience, education, and network. So I'm curious, out of those elements of professional equity, what each of you feel is the most important to you right now. And let's put Oscar on the spot as the first respondent on this question.
I think it's mostly like your peers around you, like as you said, other people have knowledge that you don't have, and that knowledge you can use for things you want to do, or it could just like be part of the puzzle that you're building. And like sometimes I feel like most of the time people would think that you have to do it like stuff by yourself, but honestly I think it's more valuable when you you get the help from other people and you just connect like that experience with them.
Awesome. Thank you. How about for you, Lily?
I'm thinking that community is also the most important to me because, like I said, winter quarter, I went to those workshops like every time. Like it's like twice a week. So I would go every day, like every week, 2 times a week. And it was for that chemistry class that I mentioned earlier. And it just helped a lot because it was a 7 a.m. So like when I went to the workshop, it was like helping me remember what happened if I was like half asleep or something. And then this past quarter, spring quarter, like I would go to the workshops, but like I said, like not as much. And I think it was just the fact that like I wasn't interacting with my classmates as much, and I was trying, like I made a group chat with like my lab table, and like we would like oh, a second. So when I took chemistry 2 this past quarter, I would reach out in the group chat like a lot and be like, guys, do y'all want to study and stuff? And it would just always like just not get a response.
Were they ghosting you or were they responding at all?
They
I'm
would
curious.
respond, but like only when they needed help with like questions and stuff. And like I would respond because like if I know it, like I'm gonna help them. But like whenever I was taking chemistry 2, it was just harder to find that community that I did in chemistry 1. And I feel like that was one of the reasons why I like really struggled because I didn't like have the same amount of interaction and amount of like going through the process with other people as I did with chemistry 2. So I feel like community is like very important, and if you can like make a study group or anything like that, like I'd highly recommend it because it definitely helped me when I was taking chemistry 1.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
I remember that was something that you were doing even during your senior year in high school. I think with the biology group and with calculus as well, is that you were forming study groups. And I remember at the time thinking, oh, that is such a good idea. So I'm really glad to hear that you are continuing with that kind of best practices.
Absolutely. I'm also curious, and I know Jacob may have more questions for you, but I'd love to jump in with one. And I'm sorry if I'm putting either of you on the spot on this one, but from your perspective, could you share what was valuable for you in being a student within Mr. Mutchler's class? Like, what did he impart to you, or because you're both connected, you're both reaching out even after you've graduated, and that's cool. That to me speaks volumes about a connection that you all have. And so I'm just curious if you could share a little bit about that.
So I had Mr. Mutchler for 2 years in high school. I had him for college algebra as well as calculus. And I don't know, like with Mutchler, like he would go through over the lecture. If you had like a question, he would know how to answer. Like, or sometimes he wouldn't give you like a direct like response, but he would like I don't know, just like um give you like a how to solve that problem. Like he would make you really like think about um how to like approach that problem, and that kind of like really like I want to say like moved around like the gears in your brain, and it kind of like gave you like the feeling that you were like kind of like how do I say it, like kind of like like you felt like you got it, because like you went for that thought process from him giving you like that slight hint, and you like working out the problem, and like he also gave you like that good old delta math, uh and that was also like a different approach on learning as well, which I really found helpful. And overall, I think he was just a great teacher um for math.
Now, he told me that you reached out to him to see if he could share with you Delta Math even kind of now. Is that something that you could talk to, how you asked him or why you asked him for that?
Um, so I asked him for the delta math because I was kind of like sort of intimate, like I mean intimidated by taking calculus again in high school. I mean in college, and as you said before, with your pre-cal class, it's kind of like really helpful to see that like that information over and over again until like you fully mastered it. And I feel that's what kind of delta math does. It's like it's a new way of like looking at information, and it's just how I prepared myself for my calculus classes in college.
Thank you for sharing that. The reason I asked it is because the show is called Professional Quotient, or PQ, and that is really about how we're leveraging our professional equity. So you shared that part of your important aspect of professional equity is your network, your community. And what I wanted to highlight is that you've been leveraging your community to help you with knowledge, which really shows that you're raising your PQ. So thank you for that, for demonstrating that and sharing it with us.
Just before we transition, I just wanted to share that how much I appreciated your kind of intrinsic motivation to learn math, Oscar, because during your senior year, you took on not only pre-cal AP kind of on your own, but then you joined AP Calculus kind of partway through and worked to fill in and learn the stuff that had happened before you joined. So I just wanted to say how cool that was, and rare for a student to be on that kind of pushing forward side of math.
So, world, we're keeping our eyes on Oscar to see what he accomplishes in life because it sounds like he's a go-getter. Awesome. How about you, Lily? What are your thoughts?
When I was a student with Mr. Mutchler, it was only for senior year for calculus, AP Calculus 1. But Mr. Mutchler is probably the best math teacher you'll ever get because he not he not only knows like what Oscar was saying, like if you have a question, like he'll either like he'll just help you basically, however that may look. And also he's very encouraging because there's been so many times where it's like we're trying to learn something new and it's just like very frustrating because it's like it doesn't make sense initially, but like he's very encouraging and very genuine. And like having that as a math teacher, like just makes the atmosphere so much better. Um, and like actually makes you want to try. Um, and whenever I would do Delta math, like in high school, I thought it was pretty, I thought like I've never seen Delta math before, but I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it was kind of like, um, it was definitely
In the moment you did when you learned it for the very first time?
it was definitely hard work at the beginning to like understand like what you have to do to master it. But like after that, like I realized how good of a tool it was. And so I also would use the Delta math that he made for after high school because I was supposed to go up to well, I went up to calculus 2. And so I wanted to like Oscar said, like just revisit the same content so I can like master it. So yeah, that was really helpful. And also it was like at that point it was something I was like familiar with and like um I don't know, I could just hear like a little Mutchler being like, "You got this, Lily."
One thing I remember from that time studying calculus with your class, Lily, was that it was almost entirely women in the class. Yeah. And sort of the reminder that we would all give whenever anybody got frustrated in any way was women in STEM. And I think, Lily, I think you started that. And just so you know, I've continued that this year.
That's a great mantra. I like that. Awesome. And I'm also hearing, Lily, that you have a high PQ as well, because I'm hearing from you that you're also leveraging your network and you're also creating and leading communities. Creating even a small study group is giving you experience and leadership experience because that's what it takes. And it's far harder to lead volunteers than it is to go out into the professional world and lead people who are paid to follow you and listen to what you say. And even though there's moments that you expressed earlier where sometimes a group is harder to get going than another, that too is learning that's experience because you're learning what kind of works for you and what doesn't work and how to do it. So again, world, we're keeping our eyes on Lily and seeing where she's going to go in life. I feel so good about both of you because you're both doing a lot of awesome things to be developed professionally. And so I'm excited to probably bring you back on this podcast in a few years and be like, okay, what business are you running? Or whatever you're doing. Jacob, did you have other questions?
No, I just want to kind of think about our listeners and potentially rising high school students. Is there any advice that you would offer rising high school students as they decide what path to take after graduating high school?
No matter like how hard you think something is, you can do it. Like the only thing between you and like completing the task is time. Like like sure you have like like a limited amount of time, but you can definitely do it. Like um and it's what you do with that amount of time that like what really matters. Like I mean, it doesn't like, even if you like take like 5 years or 10 years to complete your task, you can still do it. But it's like how you mentioned, like you can it's you have like a limited amount of resources, such as like your peers, um like your community, and all those other like uh PQ, like what were they pillars?
That's a good name for it.
That's a good name for it. I
Yeah.
didn't really call them pillars before. I just kind of say it's just part of your professional equity, like your portfolio, so to speak. And just so you're both aware, when I say equity, I mean it in the sense is that similar to financial equity. Are you familiar with that term, financial equity? So for our listeners that may not be, that is what the best way I know how to put it is, if you have a certain dollar amount now, let's say you have $100 and you use that $100 to buy something of value. Let's say it's silver or gold. Now it probably won't buy you very much gold, but you have $100 worth of gold in 2025. Well, if you hang on to that gold in 2023 or 2033, let's say, that the value of gold is likely to have gone up. So your financial equity is not the $100. It's the what you've used your $100 for. And now that you have this $100 of 2025 amount of gold in 2033, let's say it's now worth $150. Well, what you have now is you can sell that gold and you can get your $100 back, but now you have $50 additional. So within and it's the same whether you're buying like a house as well. If you can buy a house in today's market, well, in 20, 30 years, that house is likely to be like doubled in value the way house prices go. And so you've bought in at a lower rate and you're increasing its value over time. Well, it's the same with our professional skills, our knowledge, our experiences, our education, and our network, because you might have learned something today that you may find less useful right now in your time, but then you could go into a role and it's like, oh my goodness, I needed this skill the whole time and I didn't, I've had it in my back pocket. Those are all things that really raise up our professional equity, the value of the professional equity. And when I say professional quotient, I'm saying how well we're utilizing those things. So it's not just that you have the knowledge, but now you know how to use it. And that's when your PQ is going. So yes, is that, but pillar seems to be a good definition for that. Absolutely.
So it's like as you like increase like your PQ, like that amount of time that like you try to like do a task will like incredibly like shorten. And you never know with like when you can use like that skill that you learned today in the future. And you might not know what to do, but you will do something with like with what you know and learn like with throughout the years.
Absolutely. It sounds like you're communicating that nothing that you develop will be wasted, even if you don't necessarily know how to like put it all to use yet. And I appreciate that comment a lot because it's so true. I've seen it in my own life many a times where I learned something and way later I'm like, oh, I'm so thankful that's in my professional equity. Yeah. How about you, Lily?
If there was rising high schoolers watching right now, I would probably tell them to just um try to new things, because I didn't even, God knows I did not want to major in this. I was thinking of majoring in journalism. Okay, two different things. So the reason why I got here was because God gave me a job at a plant nursery, and I didn't even know I was a plant person. Another thing. But I loved that job and I worked there for like almost 3 years. And I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. And then I realized, oh, you can study this at university. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then because of because of the encouragement that Mr. Mutchler gave me and my other teacher, Mr. Prince, for physics, I realized, oh, I kind of like calculus and physics. So then I was just like, I'm just gonna pick a major that has all three things that I like. So like I feel like it's really daunting, like when people ask you, what do you want to major in? But I like, yeah, but whenever I like talk to high schoolers, I just tell them like, what do you enjoy doing? Like you should major what you enjoy in. You don't have to figure out like your whole career path right now. Just figuring out what you want to study. And the best way to do that is just trying new things and seeing what you like, what you don't like.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. Jacob, how about for you? What advice would you give?
To rising high school students?
Yeah.
Delta math.
Do your homework.
That's so real.
I really like what you guys have said about viewing time as an investment opportunity, and also trying new things. And for me, just to kind of come alongside those would just be to believe in yourself, believe that you can do it. I try to spend a lot of time in the classroom communicating that I believe in the students, and I'm sincere about that. And I think that what you guys are saying is that as you start to believe in yourself, then nothing is impossible.
And to our viewers that are listening to this conversation, or viewers or listeners, I encourage you to like, share, subscribe, and leave a positive review, especially if you've enjoyed this conversation. Share it with somebody that you know that could be encouraged, especially if they're learning a skill that's hard for them to learn right now, or a new app, or whatever they're trying to do. Encourage them and invite them to listen to Oscar and Lily and how learning something in high school has helped them several years later, or as they've progressed. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Before we wrap up, I'd love to ask, is there anything else you would like to just share on this? I always ask my guests to consider this an opportunity to spotlight or shine a light on anything that you would like to shine a spotlight on. So I would invite each of you to do so if you have anything to shine. Lily, you're nodding your head, so I'm going to start it to you.
Like I mentioned earlier, like I wouldn't have picked this major if it weren't for God. So, I wouldn't have gotten into Cal Poly, and I wouldn't be attending Cal Poly if it weren't for God. So, that's definitely how I perceive it.
Jacob, how about you? Oscar's still thinking. I can see it.
I think I would like to just shine a spotlight on students who are making this kind of leap from high school into college. That's where a lot of my focus goes. And that's where my calling has been also from the Lord. And so to hear you say that, Lily, from my perspective too, everything I do is a calling. And I'm always focused on helping students get to that next step in their successful journey. So I just want to shine a spotlight on all students who are making that leap into higher education.
Awesome. Thank you. And Oscar, is there anything you would like to spotlight?
So I kind of just want to say like, I feel like I think our like responsibility with like with like with the experiences we like gain throughout life is to like basically it's like gain as much as like information as possible and like connecting with others as well as like helping people.
And that's certainly one of the missions of this podcast. So I appreciate you all lending your voice and your time here to share with others, to be encouraging, and really to shine as a nice little spotlight to say, I can do it too, to others that are listening. So thank you so much. And to our listeners, I'd also just like to remind us all that unlike our IQ or our EQ, we can easily raise our PQ. We just have to keep learning, building, and connecting. Until next time.